Is that folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horses.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
All I want to do is sing my song, let the world go rolling around. I took a look at the wide world over, what a lot of trouble I found. Nobody listens when one man complains. Everywhere they're knocking out each other's brains. Well, all I want to do is sing my song, let the world go rolling around. Down on the corner there's a little puppy dog. He doesn't have any home. And I've seen little hungry children in many places I roam. There's an awful lot of lawful inhumanity. The thought of it can drive you to insanity. Well, all I want to do is sing my song, let the world go rolling around. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, who knows what may befall. I may just isolate myself, sing my song, try not to worry at all. When it seems the golden wand of charity is an outmoded tool, with too much fear and insecurity to practice the golden rule. Yes, I'd like to give a helping hand to every man I see, yet I'm afraid someone may take advantage of me. So all I want to do is sing my song, let the world go rolling around. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, who knows what may befall. I'll sit down by the wayside, sing my song, try not to worry at all. Here we go. All I want to do is sing my song, let the world go rolling around. Then maybe some of you people passing by me can hear my singing sound. And if you stop and listen for a little while, and if I can evoke a tear or a smile, then all I want to do is sing my song, let the world go rolling around. Tell all my brothers, let the world go rolling around. When you hear me singing, let the world go rolling. All I want to do is sing my song.
All right.
All right, all night. all night long. We could go all night long. I'm here with the great Ralph Litwin. This time I have Bobby Taylor with me. And Bobby Taylor, I'm buzzing. He's my cousin, and we're together here, and we're having a good time here because we're on Cablevision. Did you know that?
I did know
I
that.
hope so, because this is your 250th show. Past plus, 250 plus.
254, I believe it is.
254. That's good. What shall we do for continuance of what we've begun?
Well, we should have some more fun.
More fun. You know something? That was a rhyming pun. More fun. Begun. He's very good. He's very poetic.
And well, first I want to tell folks who you are.
Oh, good.
The guest on the show, you've just been listening to some wonderful music, and we're going to let you sing your song some more because it's so wonderful. And this fella has played for in the White House 3 different times.
4, but who's counting? It's not like 254 programs like you. 4 times, what's that? Oh no, look how long I've got to go.
4 times you've been in the White House.
4 times,
All right, I lost count.
Well, I did too. That's
And
it.
you've opened for Liberace.
Yes, I
An
did.
interesting credential.
Yes, Liberace. Oh, good man, good man, kind man, generous man. Yeah, God rest his soul. What a fine man, yes.
And when you were a younger man yourself, a protege of Harry Belafonte.
You could say that. Yes, you could say that. Yeah, I was sometimes his understudy. Went on for him too.
Welcome to the show, Steve DePass.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Bobby Taylor.
And Bob Taylor.
You didn't tell them my title. I'm very proud of it.
America's Singing Poet.
Thank you very much indeed. Oh, yes, indeed. And where do we go from here? What's next on the agenda, Robert? You're smarter than everybody else. Tell us. Oh, how do you do? That's a good one. How do you do? When I say, how do you do? And you say, how do you do? The way you do. Then I say, how do you do? When you say, how do you do? And we say, how do you do? The way you do. Then we say, how do you do? When I say, how do you do? And you say, how do you do? The way you do. So I say, how do you do? When you say, how do you do? How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? Well, I think it is wonderful and nifty when you are totaling the score. I said 250, but it's really 254. The hurdles you are surmounting, and you're counting as you go. Well, at 250, 254, what the hell, it's still a wonderful show. That's a fine, how do you do? When I say, how do you do? And we say, how do you do? The way you do. Even Thomas says, how do you do? When I say, how do you do? And you say, how do you do? The way. Hold it right there. Vamp for me, Robert. Tell me, what's a fine how do you do for us to sing about for the continuance and furtherance of our noble song? Come on now, Ralph.
Well, how about the fact that you've been here before and your show was selected among 25 outstanding episodes?
Oh. Yes, indeed, I have been here before, ladies and gentlemen. Furthermore, though I've been here before, I am happy to be here once again. My heart is beating and steadily repeating. I think it might explode because it's not suspected that I've been selected one of 25 episodes. That's a fine how do you do? When I say how do you do? And you say how do you do? The way you do. Everybody says how do you do? When we say how do you do? And I say how do you do? What's a continuation? What's a fine how do you do? Ask one of your cameramen to give us a fine how do you do.
Hey, Bob, what's a how do you do?
Robert, give us a fine how do you do?
I sold my boat.
You sold your what?
Boat.
Your boat?
He's a professional model maker.
He's a professional model maker and an undertaker of that chore. Well, he's not set afloat because he sold his boat. I guess that he'll have to get one more. Well, here is a man who approaches life with vivacity and with a spunk. But without your boat, don't step on the water, otherwise you'll be sunk. That's a fine how do you do? When I say how do you do? And I say how do you do? The way you do. And everybody says how do you do? When I say how do you do? Now the boat that you sold, he said something about models. Was it a real boat or a model boat? Oh, it's just a little boat. I thought you'd be set afloat in a real boat, just the way that a grown man oughta. And you are a model citizen who makes a model boat to put out on the model water. But this is something that I must announce. You can shout it from the highest steeple. Oh, a real live boat is for real live people, but a small boat is for little people. Everybody, how do you do? When I say how do you do, and you say how do you do, the way you do. Everybody say how do you do? When I say how do you do. Give me another fine how do you do. What's a fine how do you do?
How about you,
Thomas? Thomas, give us a fine how do you do.
Well, my friend Beth just moved to Maryland.
Your friend Beth just moved to Maryland. Well, I don't know if she'll be returning. I suggest you don't hold your breath, because you might explode from the yearning while you're waiting, anticipating Beth. Well, Beth, she's a runaway to Maryland, which is an understandable thing to do. Now, why would Beth run away to Maryland? Obviously to get away from you. That's a fine how do you do? When I say how do you do, and we say how do you do, the way you do. And everybody's saying how do you do when we say how do you do, and you say how do you do, the way you do. Even Bobby Taylor, how do you do? When I say how do you do, and we say how do you. Give me a fine how do you do.
My cat's so fat he had to go on a diet.
Cat is so fat he had to go on a diet. He is talking about his pussycat, and he would never deny it. Fatter than a rat, his pussycat had to go out on a diet. But maybe you should not restrict its food. You got to investigate, you see, because you should hesitate. What you call overweight, the vet might call pregnancy. That's a fine how do you do? When I say how do you do, and you say how do you do, the way you do. And everybody's saying how do you do? When I say how do you do, and you say how do you do, the way you do. The whole world is singing how do you do? When I say how do you do, and you say how do you do, the way you do. Going home, Robert. How do you do? When I say how do you do? How do you do? How do you do? How do you do?
All right.
That was pretty good.
Yes, sir.
We were warming up. We make a good team, we do. Why don't you play something with us? Do something with us. You could play your instrument, the guitar or the harmonica,
okay,
or something good like that. Or
glad to.
Yes, we should definitely do something together.
This is a good idea.
Yes, we do it spontaneous and unrehearsed.
Just tell me what key you're going to be in.
Well, I'm all keyed up. I don't know what key we're going to. Because I don't know what we're going to do with this juncture. Now, it'd be difficult for him to follow on something like Myrtle's song, wouldn't it? That's a hard one, right?
No, I've heard him. He does very well.
He could follow. You think he'd follow that? We do it with the modulations and all that stuff.
Like he does. Oh.
You want to play guitar? You want to play banjo? You want to play harmonica?
Harmonica.
Harmonica. Okay, let's try that. All right. Let's try.
How many keys?
3.
Yeah.
3 keys.
We go from D to E. D to E.
D to E.
Flat to E. Yeah.
D to E flat to E.
What do you think of that?
That'll work.
That'll work.
Look at that.
Just got to get the right harmonicas.
Yes, I've got to get the right harmonica. Well, I do a recitation which leads us into it. So you put me in the key so I can speak in the you might understand this. You'd probably get a kick out of this. I'll explain to you what's going on. Because you may be under the misconception, according to the old nursery rhyme, that little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider and sat down beside her and frightened Miss Muffet away. You've heard that?
Yes, I have.
That's not the way it happened at all. Oh, laugh if you will, but this is serious business. I'll explain to you what really happened now. Little Miss Muffet discovered a tuffet which never occurred to the rest of us. And as 'twas a June day, and just about noonday, she wanted to eat like the best of us. Her diet was whey, and I hasten to say it is wholesome and people grow fat on it. The spot being lonely, the lady not only discovered the tuffet, but sat on it. A rivulet gabbled beside her and babbled, as rivulets often are thought to do, and dragonflies sported around and cavorted, as poets say dragonflies ought to do, while glancing aside, for a moment she spied a horrible sight which brought fear to her. A hideous spider was sitting beside her, and most unavoidably near to her. Albeit unsightly, this creature politely said, "Madam, I earnestly vow to you, I'm penitent that I did not bring my hat. I should certainly otherwise bow to you, although anxious to please." He was so ill at ease that he lost all his sense of propriety, and grew so inept that he clumsily stepped in her plate, which is barred in society. This curious error completed her terror. She shuddered, and growing much paler, not only left Tophet, but dealt him a buffet, which doubled him up in a sailor knot. It must be explained that at this he was pained. He cried, "I have vexed you, no doubt of it. Your fists like a truncheon. You're still in my luncheon," was all that she answered. "Get out of it." The moral is this: be it madam or miss to whom you have something to say, you're only absurd when you get in the curd, but you're rude when you get in the way. Yo ho 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 ho. I took a job on the farm, teaching pigs to whistle. It's enough to make you bristle, teaching pigs to whistle. Pigs won't learn to whistle, no matter how you try. I think that I shall die, 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 die. I took a job on the farm, teaching cows arithmetic. It's enough to make you sick, teaching cows arithmetic. Cows won't learn arithmetic, no matter how you try. I think that I shall die, 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 die. I took a job on the farm, baking rocks in raisin bread. Seems to me that someone said rocks taste good in raisin bread. Rocks taste good in raisin bread is such a dirty lie. I think that I shall die, 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 able, oh, to be able. That is something I would want to be. Useful, oh, to be useful. Do you have some work for me? If there's something to be done, I think I could be the one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. I took a job on the farm, working hard to run amok. That's the reason I got stuck, working hard to run amok. I could never run amok, no matter how I try. I think that I shall die, 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 die. I took a job on the farm, trying to douse fireflies, but the light got in my eyes. Trying to douse fireflies. Fireflies and waterfalls, I really don't know why. I think that I shall die, 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 die. I took a job on the farm, teaching songs to hummingbirds, but they never learned the words. Teaching songs to hummingbirds. Hummingbirds won't learn the words no matter how you try. I think that I shall die, 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 able, oh, to be able. That is something I would want to be. Useful, oh, to be useful. Do you have some work for me? If there's something to be done, I think I could be the one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Teaching pigs to whistle, teaching cows arithmetic, baking rocks and raisin bread, working hard to run amok, trying to douse fireflies, teaching songs to hummingbirds who would never learn the words. Do you have some work for me? Do you have some work for Do you have some work for me? Oh, that was a harmonica ovation. Oh, wow.
We can have a triple ovation.
Oh,
Or chattering.
that's marvelous, marvelous, yes. How do you like that song?
I love that
That's
song.
That's a real person. There's a real person I grew up with, you know, whose name was Myrtle. I call that Myrtle song. And she was very poetic and my companion and my associate in poetry and things when I was very, very small. And she died while I was a child, and so that I call Myrtle song.
Very cute.
Yes, indeed.
Song.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, here we are now for the purpose of continuance and all of that kind of thing. So at this stage of the game, Robert, let's figure out what we're. This is we just did a very. Speaking of Myrtle, I have another Myrtle song. I call it Myrtle Flashbacks. You know why? I wrote this song very recently. As a matter of fact, first time I'm performing it. It has to do with a lot of the concepts and ideas and philosophy that a little girl who was my friend used to talk about. But then I could not understand. It's only now in maturity and full adulthood and on reflection that I can understand. So I've put those ideas into the poetry and into the song. And thinking about her, I call it Myrtle Flashbacks. Can we do it, Robert? Oh, beautiful. 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 Fish may swim in the beautiful water. Rain may fall from a pitiless sky. You may dwell in a city full of people, see them live and watch them die. And some say nothing lasts forever, and I say, hey, that may be true. Only time goes on unchanging, like God in heaven, my love for you. Like God in heaven, my love for you. Life is short, so the people may tell me, and I retort, I haven't any fears. Within the power of 1 hour, you can live 100 years. It merely takes a method of dreaming. It all depends on the state of your mind. So I will not go kicking and screaming when I leave this world behind. When I leave this world behind, I may die in a state of confusion. I'll have gone, never said a goodbye. Remember, time is only an illusion, and so we live, and so we die. So think of me with kind affections, sweet reflections of days gone by. You and I, together forever, though we live and though we die, though we live and though we die. And you may feel with the flesh of the body, and you may touch with the palm of the hand, but to know you got to dig a little deeper so you can truly understand. And there is joy in comprehending, in understanding all that is true. Time neither has beginning nor ending, like God in heaven, my love for you. Like God in heaven, my love for you. And change is change arise, and is suddenly there. And there is no way to prepare you. Change overtakes you in the blink of an eye, and there is nothing in the world to spare you. And so we live, and so we die, and so we live, and so we die. And change will come within your lifetime. Changes come, and changes go, and change will be replaced by changes. It always was and shall be so. And only time goes on unchanging. It never was old, will never be new. Time never was and is forever, like God in heaven, my love for you. And only time goes on unchanging. It never was old, will never be new. Time never was and is forever, like God in heaven, my love for you. Like God in heaven, my love for you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. It was less than our perfect rendition of it, but it's the first time we've done it, and there it is.
Beautiful.
I figured if we were going to louse it up, we may as well do it on your show.
I didn't hear any imperfections.
Thank you.
We should
You're
tell
too
folks
kind.
how to get in touch with you because we're almost running out of time here.
Out of time! I can't
Almost
believe
out
it.
of time.
You know what they say about tempest and fusion and all of that kind of thing?
When
They
you're
say
having
that.
fun.
That's what they say.
So your phone number, Steve, is...
Oh, 212-757-5112. Put it on the screen for them if you'd be so kind. There, yes, like that. Yes. 212-757-5112. I'm called America's singing poet, and my name is Steve DePass. And my greatest qualification in life is that I'm a personal friend of Ralph Little. Oh, yes, I am. Yes, and listen. There it is, a little B-flat melody to get us out of here.